Hang on, people. Well, I had done a part 2 about the beating of Tyre, and after I read the comments on here, this is going to be part 2, and part 3 will be about the beating. So let's get a few things straight. I do these videos to share my perspective as a cop. I'm not protecting cops. I have over 200 videos on a Earning the Hate playlist to where I trash cops' bad behavior. So I am not, and anybody that knows me, am not a government, police, tyrannical lover and enforcer and thinks cops are great. So for those that want to come here and make those claims, I know you're full of shit and you're just trying to push your little narrative. And in the comments here, there's a lot of narrative trying to be pushed and a lot of accusations toward me, which is okay. I get it. When you attack somebody's misled belief system that all white people are racist, all black people are perfect, if you attack that system, you're going to piss some people off. I mean, I get it from the crazy white people when I crack on white cops that, man, you got to protect the race. Whatever. Shut up. Stupid shit. I don't give a shit what color you are. I don't care what bathroom you use. All right? I give you my opinion on the facts that I know, and I don't even know if they're facts. It's the things that I know that the lying media and the lying government puts out. And you guys who are coming here calling me jumping to conclusions want to believe the shit that supports your point of view and then want to attack me, which is okay. Here we go. I thought this was a great comment. When the chief says we put together a scorpion unit to, to help the community. You put together a rattlesnake, puff adder, tarantula, black widow, killer wasp unit to reach out to the community for love and peace. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, let's look at some of these other comments. So I get my share of good comments that people think I'm calling it right. I'm calling it for my opinion. I'm not trying to necessarily be right or first or give you some secret, special, hidden, backdoor, high five shit. I just call it like I see it from what I see in a video. And if a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth a lot more. But right here, I gotta be honest. It didn't look like they were trying to cuff him to me during the beating. Okay, I cover that in the next video on why it may look that way and what the cops are probably thinking. And I've said it probably 50 times in this video. The cops were out of control. They were wrong. And this guy did not deserve what he got. I just don't know how else to say it. However, I will also say he was not a saint and an angel, and he did not comply. I keep hearing he worked at FedEx, and he's got no criminal history. So that's still bullshit. I don't know how long did he get fired. So what, he's working at FedEx. That doesn't mean he's not a criminal. Somebody else said he can't be a criminal working for FedEx. 2 of the cops that beat him had felony convictions. They lowered the standard for cops and started accepting black officers with felony convictions to get more black officers. Nobody wants to talk about that. But FedEx somehow has better standards for their employees because this guy works for FedEx. Now FedEx is a great company. I've hated FedEx for freaking decades. So him working for FedEx is not going to impress me. Okay? But whatever. I don't give a shit if he had a job or didn't have a job. I just want to know the truth. Did he have a criminal record or did he not? And there's no facts. People are saying, oh, there's facts. He had no criminal. That's bullshit. It's not true. Definitely was waiting for your take. They were trying to handcuff him. If you notice in the beating, as soon as he's handcuffed, he's not kicked or punched. Once he stops resisting and trying to get away, he does not get punched or kicked. They slide him up against the car and they wait for medical. Nobody wants to admit that fact, but unfortunately that's a fact. And you can argue and call me racist and mean and pick names and try to discredit me because you don't like what I'm saying because it doesn't fit your bullshit agenda. So this comment was, I heard they said he was reckless driving, and then it was from the previous day. I don't know. Everybody's hanging on that the chief said there's no evidence he was reckless driving. No evidence is not proof. That is legal mumbo jumbo double talk. Okay? Some newspaper said there's no evidence that he had any criminal record, and everybody's running around saying he had no criminal record. That's not evidence. If I say there's no evidence that you sexually molested a child, it doesn't mean that you didn't sexually molest the child. it means that either nobody's saying it, they're hiding evidence, and we can't prove it. That doesn't make it so, people. But it makes it so if you want to believe that, so you can attack me and call me I'm racist, tell me I'm jumping to conclusions, tell me I'm a bootlicker and all this other crap. If in fact it comes out that he was not reckless driving, that will be new information and I will change my opinion. I will not change my opinion that Tyre did not submit to the arrest, put his hands behind his back, and allow himself to be cuffed. He never went on his belly. He fought, resisted, and in fact, he ran away. And you can justify all the shit you want, but that fact will not change. I've seen plenty of people, white and black, that get arrested and they put their hands behind their back and they get handcuffed and they don't get beat. Yes, there are exceptions, but this guy resisted for a long time and ran away. Ricky wanted to go see his mama. Whatever. I don't give a shit why. He did not submit to the arrest. Okay? Which makes it very easy for the government to say he resisted and he fled, and consciousness of guilt. And I get into that in the next video. I read this on Twitter that one of the cops was texting pictures of the victim. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. That doesn't change. The cops were wrong for kicking him in the head. And it doesn't change that Tyre did not submit to the arrest. He fought the cops and he ran away. Just because this happened does not change it. It does maybe give evidence that they were targeting him, that maybe he wasn't reckless driving and they picked on him because this rumor that he's sleeping with one of the girlfriends or he works with one of the ex-cops at FedEx or whatever. All this shit is great peripheral. It doesn't change. Tyre fought the cops and ran away, and the cops kicked him in the head and beat the shit out of him, and they were wrong. Those two facts don't change, okay? This guy disagrees with me, says peace out, doesn't make it personal. Yeah, man, I think you probably put this out a little too soon. There's definitely more to it. There's always more to it. And there's more to it because the cops are hiding shit. The media is suppressing shit to push their racial agenda. Even though it was black officers that beat a black man, they're still trying to push the race agenda. So there's always more information. So when you say you put it out too soon, when this is in the forefront of the media and everybody's out there putting out their lies, and everyone who wants to wait sits back, if I wait 6 months till we get a whole bunch of facts and there's a couple of search warrants and there's a couple of released documents and criminal history and all, if I wait till all that, nobody will want to hear it. They'll be burnt out on this story. I'm trying to give people who want to critical think other things to look for before they make up their mind. Maybe understand how crooked our government is and how crooked our media is and how maybe the agenda they're selling isn't exactly that this poor black man was on his way to work and buying his mom coffee and he tried to run home to his mama. Because I don't believe that shit for a second. I'm sorry. And you can call me a racist. If he was a white guy and the facts were the same, I would have the exact same opinion. So when I get a comment like fantastic analysis, I'm hoping, and I think my audience is a little bit smarter than that. He's not saying, or she is not saying, I'm fantastic analysis because I push some agenda. I have no agenda. I mean, if you want to say I have one agenda, never believe the media and never believe or trust the government. That's my one agenda. And I'm consistent with that in almost all my videos. I don't believe government. I don't trust government. I think they're crooked. I think they're incompetent. And I think the media protects them. So I'm pretty consistent in that. So I'm hoping this compliment is not because he only heard one part. That's why I cover different parts. It's multiple parts. And I piss multiple people off. If, you know, Confucius said it's not good when all people like you. It's good when good people like you and bad people dislike you. Okay? I like that. So this is a reasonable comment. I saw recently in a channel he had an ex-girlfriend that was dating a guy, which has a lot to do with the beating, but who knows? We'll find out as more. Exactly. We're going to find out more. And I always say with more information, my opinion changes. I'm giving you my opinion right now. And even if there's more information that I don't know, people are come here, man, you just lied and you hide and you know that this and you. If I know it, I'm saying it. I'm basing. I have nothing to gain by coming here and intentionally hiding something. I'm not trying to push. I'm not trying to rally people to hate black people. I'm not trying to rally people to love cops. I have no agenda, people. So the people that come here and just hate me and tell me I have an agenda and I'm a cop licker and I hate black people. Whatever. I know they don't have a clue. They're just pushing their agenda. They're ignorant. Trust me, Rick. Cops that do this don't deserve donuts. I never said they deserved a donut. I mean, I've never said that in a minute. It's funny. I just heard on the news that the vice president is going to meet with Tyre's parents and go to the funeral. So let me get this straight. A black man that gets pulled over by cops, fights the cops, runs away from the cops, then gets beat by the cops who are black, and the suspect is black. The vice president visits them because it's a sad tragedy that he dies later. A white woman climbs through a window at the Capitol, gets shot by a black officer. She's unarmed. She has no weapon, did nothing but climb through a window, gets shot and killed. Not one support from government, not one trial, riot, upset, nothing. Black officers protected. I mean, look at the two ironies of those two cases and tell me that you trust government or our media. It's just outrageous. So this comment is one of the news articles stated Tyre worked at FedEx, which, if that is accurate, it is not unusual for route drivers drive nice automobiles and dress nice since they make good money. So what? If it comes out that that's his car, most people who have nice cars and good jobs don't run away and abandon their cars. Tyre ran from his car. I know you're going to want to justify it because the cops pepper sprayed him and the cops were beating him. Those cops were trying to get him into custody initially. They didn't kick him in the head. The cops initially tried to use minimum force. They tried to use the taser. They tried to use the pepper spray. They didn't beat him with batons, kick him in the head, and shoot him. They didn't do any of that. So the first cops were trying to use minimum force. And Tyre abandoned his car and ran off. Most people who aren't committing crimes don't do that. Okay? I don't care if he does work for FedEx and it is his car and he's got a lot of money. Most reasonable people don't resist arrest, run away from the cops because they know they're going to get caught, and abandon their car on the road. Rick, you're just blaming the black man. Actually, I'm blaming all black men because all black people were involved in this. How about that? Rick, you're a racist. All right, whatever. There's plenty of videos where I blame all the white cops, the white bald cops who are acting like tyrannical assholes. You know, you can call the racist card all you want. It just doesn't fly. There's too much evidence out there to where I attack all cops that I think are bad. Here's that fake news to where you keep saying he's a criminal. I never said he's a criminal. Maybe I did. His behavior was criminal. He committed a crime when he resisted arrest and ran away. He committed a crime. That fact doesn't change. Doesn't matter why he ran away, etc. I mean, I would love for people to not have to comply with cops that are breaking the law, but that's not the case. You have to, if a cop wants to arrest you and it's false, you have to go to court. If I get a ticket and I wasn't speeding, I have to go to court. I can't fight the cop and run and tell him he's full of shit and get on the street and then claim, well, man, I wasn't really speeding, so that's why I ran. That's why I left my car. That makes you a criminal. Comply with the tyrannical cops and go to court, okay? Some sources say he doesn't have a criminal record. Well, I haven't seen a source say that. All I've seen is that we can't find any evidence he has a criminal record. That's not a source he doesn't have one. That could be they're not looking. That could be they're not asking. That could be that people aren't answering. If I call the PD and say, hey, does this guy have a criminal record? I'm sorry, we can't answer that. Hey, I did my due diligence. I have no evidence that he has a criminal record. I even contacted the police department, and there's no evidence he has a criminal record. That's bullshit. All I did was call the police and say, does he have a criminal record? And they said, we can't tell you that. And now I'm running around saying he doesn't have one, and other idiots are running around repeating it and calling me racist because I said I bet he does have a criminal record, and I stand by that. Not because he's black, because his actions are criminal in nature to resist arrest and run from the cops. Most people who don't have criminal records don't run from the cops. Rick, that's not true. I saw a white guy run from the cops and you protect... Whatever, you freaking crazy people. So this guy said donut, I'm assuming donut hole, he's calling donut operator. And Tatum, Officer Tatum, and other ex-cops are all accusing this guy of being a criminal and crackhead. I don't know if he's a crackhead or not. I would like to see a toxicology report. I'm pretty sure if there's no drugs in his system, we would be hearing that. I'm pretty sure if he didn't have a criminal record, the police department would be releasing, this guy has no contact with our agency. He has no criminal record. his driving record only shows one speeding ticket. They would be saying that if that was true, and they're not saying that. A lot of times these stories are more about what they're not saying. How many times has it come out that the cops said, we did this, and we see the video and they're lying? Well, they're lying now, okay? I'm telling you. So this guy, of course, is a flyby, wants to come here. Oh, I start thinking Rick is all right. He comes up with something completely and smashes any respect I started having for him. I guess it's true, cops cover for cops. You haven't seen part 3 because I trash these cops, but it doesn't matter. I've got well over 200 videos trashing cops that are abusing people and doing shit wrong. Doesn't matter. People like this are going to believe what they want to believe. They just want to run around and you know what? I support this guy's right to be foolish and to make bullshit statements because this is America. Doesn't make him right, but I support his right. So here's a comment. Tyre worked full-time at FedEx, made videos skateboarding in his spare time. I also heard he had custody of his son. If all this is true, then it doesn't mean that he did not run from the cops. It doesn't change that fact. It does make me question. I want to see the video of his reckless driving. Was he reckless driving? What's his driving history? What's his criminal history? All those things are totality of circumstances that paints a better picture. It's easy to just concentrate on the facts that are good, okay? I don't know why I didn't like that video. It must have snuck in there. I usually like these, all comments, so I know that I reviewed them. So here's somebody coming here saying, Newsweek, at the time of writing, there is no evidence to suggest that Nichols has any criminal record of any kind. That is not a fact, people. People are quoting this comment because they put, this is a finely worded thing like by some freaking attorney. There's no evidence to suggest that he had it. So what? So what? There's no evidence to say that he's a great guy. Well, he had a job, Rick. Okay. If you want to think that's evidence that he's a great guy, then perfect. Everybody with a job should never be arrested. I'm pretty sure at least 50% of the people arrested have jobs, if not higher. Just because he had a job don't make him a good guy and not a criminal. If he has no criminal record, huge. Changes my mind a lot. I still question why the hell he ran with no criminal record. That's kind of stupid. I mean, we see videos every day of people dying, getting their ass beat. Running from the cops is never a good plan, and it never works out good. Never. In the history of cops, running from the cops is not a good plan and it's never worked out good. And most people who have never done it, the first time they do it, they want to get rid of evidence. They're hiding. They don't want to get caught. Everybody that's ever ran from me, and there's been hundreds, were all criminals and all had criminal histories. I've never chased a person that had no criminal record. Never. Rick, that's not fair. You probably just, I chased all colors of people. Never have I chased somebody that had no criminal record. Never. Never has anyone ran from me that did not have a criminal record. That's called basing my opinion on prior experience. The best predictor of future behavior is prior behavior. Somebody said, Rick, you say he's punched while handcuffed. He's not. You can see his hands are not. Okay. I think I was saying, and in the next video, I go over that clearly. I did notice that his hands were never handcuffed. And once he was handcuffed, he was not punched or kicked. I cover that in the next video. I mean, I already said this is a 3-part. It's now going to be a 4-part. It may be a 5-part. But people, I have no agenda. I'm really not trying to convince you to agree with me. I'm simply giving you my perspective, why I believe what I believe, and maybe make you a critical thinker not to trust government, the lying media, BLM, or any other group that has an agenda to push. Just think for yourself. You don't have to agree with me. Somehow, when I brought up the car, it really struck a nerve with a lot of people. It's kind of like when I bring up quota hiring at police departments and people go, man, how do you know he's a quota hire? And it's not fair that you call it quota hire because it makes it seem like that he couldn't get the job on his own. Well, in this incident, they lowered the standard because they couldn't get enough black officers, and they started hiring black officers who were convicted felons. You as a citizen can't get a gun if you're a convicted felon. Yet, because the government wants to hire black people and look like we're being fair and equal, they waive the felony thing and give these guys guns, and now they're out there beating up and killing black people, and people are still blaming it on racism. Perfect. You just can't make this shit up. We have this guy who just really wants to ignore the facts and twists. I heard 5 guys yelling, "Give me your hands," as they held his hands. 5 big men couldn't cuff this dude? They wanted to beat him. I normally agree with you, Rick. After spending 4 hours watching these videos and finding out there's no legitimate reason, man, this guy's got it all. Outlaw Productions has all the info. He's got everything. Everybody stop reading the news and stop investigating this. Outlaw Productions solved it. It's all solved in his mind. No legitimate reason. He has no clue. There's been no evidence of that whatsoever. Okay? You are taking that cop's mentality, which is usual. See, it always comes down to you have to attack me instead of the facts of my message. But the police have found no probable cause for initial stop. I don't know. I know the chief supposedly made a comment, which I haven't seen yet, that there's no evidence that he was reckless driving. That just means there's no video evidence and they can't prove it. Why is it no evidence now, yet people are convicted every day when a cop goes into court and said, this guy was speeding? Well, there's no evidence I was speeding. You're guilty. Pay the fine. Why all of a sudden now, when a cop says he was reckless driving, it means no probable cause and no evidence? Because it fits the agenda of the people that want their agenda in the forefront or believed. It's so bullshit, people. So stop saying Tyre. The whole thing is unlawful. Man, this guy's just got it all figured out. Everybody just stop reading the news now. Just go to Outlaw Productions. I'm going to get this guy all these subs. Just go there. He knows everything. Actually, Outlaw, you just show your bias and you're full of shit. Sorry. But, next. John says prove he was a criminal. I would love to prove he was a criminal. I would love if all criminal histories were public record. I would love if we could all just look it up and not rely on the government to hide, suppress, and only give us certain things that they want. I would love that. But that's not the rules, John. So you can make it seem like because I can't prove it, it doesn't exist. But that's not proof. This comment, where's the video? I would agree. I would love to see video. But unmarked cars, a lot of times do not have video in their cars. So they don't look like cops. That's the purpose of being undercover cars. If I run around with a freaking video and spotlights and red lights, I'm not an undercover car. So there's probably not going to be video of the reckless driving. But like I said, every other time if a cop says he sees something, we believe him. At least the radio traffic, that is a good point. If they called it in, as I said before, undercover cops, we don't call in a lot of stuff. We don't tie up the radio on bullshit. I think I cover that in the next video. How do 3 adults contain a person enough to get away that weighs 140 pounds? Well, I'm pretty sure, Dave, that you've never fought somebody. You've never tried to handcuff somebody without hurting them. You've never tried to handcuff somebody that's sweating and wiggling. Okay? It's easy to think that 3 grown men can do it. I've been with 6 cops and people have gotten away. Especially if they're on drugs and sweaty and you can't get a grip. And we're not allowed to punch them. And the first guys did not punch him in the throat. Did not kick him in the head. Because they were trying to follow minimum force. They were using their tasers and pepper spray. They were trying to use non-lethal force to get this guy to comply. Okay? What you don't want to say when you say this statement is, why didn't Tyre just put his hands behind his back? Rick, he was trying and the cops wouldn't let him. Well, that's because you're an idiot. Okay? If you believe that, you're an idiot. And right on cue, my idiot makes his comment. How can he put his hands behind his back when you're holding his hands? Oh, shit. That's what the cops were doing. Let me think on how many times. Let's see. When I was a cop, I'm trying to think back here. Let me try to be honest with you guys. How many times did I just want to fight with somebody and get my pants dirty and kneel on hard concrete and get scraped? Did I try and hold a guy's hands just so I couldn't cuff him? So I could roll around in the dirt and get sweaty, tear my uniform, and hurt myself. Let me think how many times I did that. 0, you freaking idiots. Cops just don't do that. Now, if this guy was the girlfriend and he was dating his girlfriend and there was personal, then maybe if I'm busting coconuts could happen. I don't write off anything. I try not to say never and always. You can't tell me cops never plant shit car. I can tell you I've never seen a cop do it. I've never been involved in a cop, and I've never been around that shit, okay? There is probably video of some cops planning, but it's not rampant. If it was, they'd be on my earning the hate line. There was one guy that was pulling a lot of people over, and I think he was planning shit. Although there was still no video evidence, There was one slight video of something in his hand, and everybody concluded that it was drugs, but I wasn't really convinced. Not because I wanted to protect him. I thought he was a piece of shit and he should go to jail forever because he took a lot of people. But again, you people want to make this about me defending the cops. If you watch my videos, I am not a cop defender. I have cops left and right coming here hating me, telling I'm making people hate them. And I got you other idiots coming here saying all I want to do is kiss the cop's ass. That tells me I'm doing the right thing because I'm not keeping everybody happy. And that's not what I'm trying to do. And this comment, Rick, you're missing the point. Gee, I've never heard that before. This is an illegal stop. We don't know that for sure. If it was an illegal stop, then you are correct. They made an illegal stop. And everything that happens after that is fruits of the poisonous tree for evidence-wise. But cops do illegal stops and they arrest people who are not resisting, who are not disturbing the peace, and the cops go, you know what? Put your hands behind your back. I'm arresting you for disturbing the peace. It's a bullshit arrest. And you know what? Most people just turn around, let them handcuff them, and fight them in court, and then they get a payout, okay? If you fight and run, you commit more crimes, and then you justify for the cops to say, see, not only was he resisting, he ran off. No, Rick, that's not what happened. You're missing the point. You're just trying. Shut up, you freaking crybabies. Come here with your stupid shit, expecting you're going to intimidate me to change my opinion because you make some freaking stupid comment. And Art makes a very good point. There's something brought to the attention for them to make the traffic stop. True. If the suspect didn't resist, it will take 30 seconds for one cop to cuff him. He obviously was resisting. This is clear in the video, and I cover that in the next video on showing his resistance that people don't want to see. So you can hate me more in the next video because I pretty much, I think, drive this point home. Okay, Rick, you suddenly seem to remember that cops are out of control. I don't forget that. I know cops are out of control. Innocent people get caught up all the time. I know that. I say that every day. Tyre is one of those. I do not know that yet. There's not enough information for me to know that. You're calling him type of criminal when we haven't had anything to suggest. No, I'm going by my experience that criminals tend to resist arrest and run from cops when they're holding drugs, guns, and they want to get rid of evidence because they know if they get in custody, they're going to go to prison. That's what I'm going by. When in fact it's proven that he does not have a criminal record, then I will change that opinion. Right now, my opinion, totality of circumstances, he's got a criminal history. He's ran from the cops before. He is not 100% innocent. I could be totally wrong. I'm not making that conclusion because of his color. I'm making that conclusion because I've dealt with a lot of criminals that ran from me and did his type of behavior, and they were all criminals. Camo says I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to hold off. That's not wrong. I think that's smart. I don't think anybody should have 100%. Hell, I'm watching all these videos, reading all these comments, and reading all the news articles that people are giving me links to and trying to find new information every day, and I still don't know what happened. And I'm not sure we'll ever know until maybe the officers go to trial and when we get full information and full disclosure, because the government is going to need to give full information in order to convict these cops. So I think this is smart. I don't think you're wrong at all for holding off for the whole story. Because he's dead and buried, the family could have had their own toxicology report done and released it to make their son look innocent. They could have easily, if it was my son, you bet your ass I would have paid to have a private company do a tox and get my own evidence because I don't trust the government. And I would have released that shit if it made my son look good before his funeral. I would have released that he had no drugs in his system during this incident. It wasn't his fault. I would have released a bunch of shit. And we haven't heard a whole bunch. We just heard he's a great guy and he called mama when he was, whatever, getting beat. He lived several days later. People are like thinking he died on scene. He lived several days. The last thing he said to his parents were, I'll see you in a day or so. And then he died in the hospital. We don't even know if it was incompetent of a doctor. We don't know if some crazy freaking nurse, because there's plenty of those stories where they kill people, shot something in his IV and killed him. We don't know any of that. But man, we sure do know that he was a great guy. He worked at FedEx and Rick got it all wrong. We know that. Come on, Camo. He didn't run and hide. He runs home almost. Really? Really? Because out of all the criminals that have ran from me, I'd probably say 75 to 80% of them were heading home. But in your theory, That's not running and hiding. Really? They run home to get money, to get the car, so they can get help to hide. No, Rick, he was running home because he loved his mama and he didn't do anything wrong. Okay, you can believe that. I don't care what you believe. I really don't. So Bubba Love says you're supposed to resist evil. Because his comment isn't clear, what does that mean? You should resist my opinion. You should resist supporting cops. You should resist talking against black people. Tyre did the right thing by running from the cop. What does this comment mean? Whatever. I'm getting this skateboard comment a lot about how he loved his skateboard, made videos. There is a long history of conflict between cops and skateboarders. That's just a little side note. Not saying Tyre was a bad guy. So Phil gives me, damn brother, I like you. Tell it like it is. Damn truth. I'm trying to tell the truth and be truthful, but I could be wrong. I don't have all the information. I'm just trying to whittle through the information I have on what seems more reasonable or less reasonable. That's how, when you're working long-term in law enforcement, you're dealing with courts and defense attorneys and DAs. You're always, as an investigator, looking for what's the pitfalls, what's going to come up and hurt us. I better check this and confirm this, because that's kind of like on the Lacey Peterson case, where the husband, the white husband, killed his pregnant wife, threw her in the ocean in California. When the cops were working that case, they went to every sex offender in the area and every rapist and everyone on parole and probation, and they took pictures of their hands and neck and face area to show that there was no cuts, scrapes, or scratches, that there was no fight to abduct. Because the big theory for him was somebody kidnapped his wife because she was cute and she must have been raped. So in order to defeat that defense, they went and got everyone on parole or probation with any sexual offense and took pictures of any defensive wounds of their hands. That's how you plan and that's how you think. So everybody they took pictures of, they weren't accusing them of the crime. They were trying to get evidence to show the odds are, and the preponderance of the evidence that somebody committed this is bullshit. And that's all I try to put out, people. Critical think, give you different things. Okay, so this is part 2. Again, I'll make a playlist on this whole thing because I actually covered a lot of this on the live when I was getting new information and we talked about a lot of things. This will be part 2. I still got to edit part 3 of the beating because I put some things in there that I kind of got to change around and I was kind of messing up, so I got to erase some dead spots. All right, we'll end that there. You can beat me up in the comments. It's okay. Just don't make it personal and state your opinion and facts. Okay? You can even state your beliefs. That's okay. But don't state your beliefs has facts and that I must be lying because my beliefs don't match yours. All right, y'all have a good one.